I am going to do IRONMAN Tulsa.
Tulsa, Oklahoma?
The Sooner State.
Right, no SD card in the GoPro. Classic YouTuber mistake. So, doing this on my iPhone. We'll see if it makes it in. It's Tuesday morning. I'm on a slightly easier week, as I said, leading into the Reading Half this weekend. And at the request of myself, I wanted to do a 400, 200 classic CSS test in a swim. So here we go, 2.5K. Obviously won't be any swim footage because of my poor admin skills. But targeting, or I like to think, hopefully I can break 5 minutes 30 for the first time for 400. I'm not too fussed about the 200. So the swim went okay this morning. I swam a 400 meter PB of 5:29.22. I have the exact to the 10th and 100th seconds because I was very grateful that Heather stood on the side of the pool and did lap times every 100 and for the full 400. And I swam 2:38.60 for the 200, which is 1 second slower than I swam a 200 kind of test a couple of weeks ago. So pretty good. However, I don't feel great. Now I have a notorious record that is still upheld of no days off school, no days off work in coming up to 33 years now, with sickness, and I don't get ill very often. So yeah, I'm not sure, but I've been tracking since upgrading my watch last year and enabling the feature for HRV, etc. I've been tracking it closely. Now I have never taken any action off what it tells me, and just looked at it on at the end of a week or just for general kind of glancing, just to see what it's sort of saying. And for the first time in almost that year period, I've had 2 red readings, yesterday and today. So I don't really know what to do. I went ahead and swam because this is the first time it's been red, to see if I felt like utter rubbish. And then in the future, if I had a red, I'd consider either knocking the intensity out of the session or not training at all. But I obviously swam okay. I don't think it's... I just think I just had didn't feel great in the pool kind of day, rather than oh my God, the world's caving in, you're falling apart. I think the clocks going forward on Saturday, Sunday had a big impact on me. I really didn't sleep very well that night, and I got up stupidly early to go down to the TR20, etc. So I barely had any sleep. So I think that's more the knock-on impact. I'll put it up on the screen now, my sort of last 4 week, 7-day trend. You can see that last week I had a pretty much amber week all week, but it didn't really change all week. It stayed at what was the normal value and just dropped by 1 millisecond. And I'm certainly not going to start changing my training drastically because something's dropped by 1 millisecond. So yeah, I'm going to see how I feel tomorrow. Obviously, it's Tuesday now. I've got the Reading Half Marathon on Sunday. If this continues to be red for the rest of the week, then I will consider doing a bit even more less than I was planning on doing anyway. We were doing or looking to do about 12 hours of training this week compared to the sort of 20 I've been doing in previous weeks. I'm going to do a little run session now. I'm going to do it on the treadmill. It has got some intensity in it. I've got 10-minute warm-up, 2K at around 3:40 pace, which is just under 6-minute mile pace, which is the sort of goal pace for the weekend. And then I think it's 5 lots or 4 lots of 400 meters, a bit quicker, which on the treadmill, I mean, the treadmill seems to be pretty good with kind of pace accuracy. So, and then measuring distance via Zwift. So yeah, we'll get that done. It's only about 45 minutes. If I do feel utterly rubbish in the 2K, I'll obviously just stop. But it's sort of the key prep session prior to the marathon. I've got no more run intensity prior to the half marathon, sorry. And it's the session I'm going to wear these for the first time. So these are the shoes I'm hoping to wear in London and in Tulsa. as everyone probably recognises, they're the Nike Next Percent version 2s. I haven't worn them yet. I've tried them on, but I've not run in them yet. So going to give those a test. I did want to do it outside, but it's raining, and then I'd end up with muddy and wet shoes, which I don't want. So we'll stay indoors and get that done. And I'm also trying out these socks I got from Saw. Not sponsored by Saw, but they're probably going to reach out to me now and offer me a big deal, because I think anybody who's got a pair of these, and I think the Vaporfly 3s dropped today in this colourway, is definitely going to want a pair of these socks. I think you'd be mad not to go for the I call it the fruit salad, which I'm sure is probably the actual name, but to me this reminds me of the fruit salads you might have had as a kid, or you can probably still get down the Spar, or the Cost Cutter is where I used to go and get sweets. So going to give socks and shoes a go, just to bed them in a little bit. These are race shoes. I would never normally do like a full session in them prior to a race. I've never found with them. This is my second pair of Alpha Flies, and I think I've had 2 or 3 pairs of Vaporflies. I've always found them out the box to not cause me any issues. You know, I might do a short run in them just to break them in a little bit, but you certainly don't need to have done any massive mileage in them. And if anything, they're designed to, you know, only last, you know, whatever it is, 200, 300, 400k nowadays. So you don't want to put big mileage in them if you intend to use them a couple of times, particularly for marathons. Cool. Right, less talking about that. Hopefully I'll try and get a little bit of footage running on the treadmill while I'm here on my own. Bryn's here. You gonna sit in the garage with me? He wants to go outside. Next year you'll be able to do the intervals, won't you? Oh, I'll be too fast for you. Yeah, I'll be too fast for you. Cheers. There we go then, session done. I feel pretty good, to be honest, which is good. I do prefer listening to my body. Shoes feel good. A bit weird on the treadmill, but they do feel like they're quite efficient. My heart rate was definitely quite low for sort of speeds I was running at, although they're short intervals. So yeah, bring on Reading. So this is almost certainly going to be my low of the week. I mentioned before running yesterday, my sort of metrics that Garmin now calculates were not looking good. And despite feeling good during the run and getting the session done, I still don't quite feel 100% today. Now, hand on heart, honestly, I can think of 2 sessions in 5 years that I've either canned halfway through or not had a go at. So it's very rare, very unlike me to miss stuff. If I ever have had to miss things for other things, I've always made up for it later in the week, etc., which isn't always the best way to do it. But yeah, I've been pretty reliable. So this is a bit of a new one for me. I had a call scheduled with coach anyway today. We decided to can off my bike session tonight, which was 3 lots of 20 minutes at sort of 290, 300 watts. So pretty tough session, similar to last week, which was 4 by 15 minutes, but this week 3 by 20. And then I was going to ride in the morning. I was going to do an overgear session before going to work. The plan now is to can both the bike sessions off, even though I said in the last video they'll be the priority. Get a good night's sleep, get a lie in. If I feel good and the metrics start to swing the other way, I'll do a short run at lunchtime for 45 minutes or so, nice and easy. Friday, just an easy spin, and then I'll go into the weekend. And obviously I'm planning on doing a half marathon, which is the main reason for missing these sessions. I think if I had a normal weekend ahead, I probably would have cracked on a bit. But as I've got this half marathon, the worst thing to do would be to put myself not in a position to execute that race on Sunday. I don't necessarily feel ill, I just feel very tired. I think it's mainly work and other stresses that are causing it rather than training. But for the first time in my life, I'm going to knock back training for a day or so, 2 days, and see where we go. To try and cheer myself up, I have decided to get fish and chips, which I haven't had for a while, and it's a bit of a treat. So yeah, see you later in the week. So it's Thursday lunchtime. 45-minute run done. Look at that time, it's slightly better this morning. My HRV was still listed as red, but it hadn't changed from yesterday. And the thing we were watching more is my resting heart rate, which normally is around 40, can be as low as 38, was up at 45 yesterday, and it was down at 42 this morning. So my HRV is obviously going to stress because I'm putting myself under stress. So looking at that combined with my resting heart rate and some other stuff. So I've had 4 good nights sleep, well over 8 hours a night, feel better. My resting heart rate's starting to come down a bit. So hopefully in the next day or so, the HRV metric, which is the accumulation of all those things, goes green. But that felt good. Just over 9k, cruising around the streets of London. There were lots of footage of me running through tourists. I think I nearly scat one girl over nearly on Southwark Bridge, because while they're taking photos, they don't look what they're doing. Cheers. Right, so to close out the weekly video here, on Saturday I was very kindly asked to come and do a Q&A at Denham swim venue with Heather, who is the lady I swim a lot with. She's a swim coach, particularly in the open water, and she had a group of swimmers that some of them are triathletes, some of them are due to do Ironmans, and she asked if I'd come and do a Q&A, which was the first time I've done anything like that, and really enjoyed it. It was quite good. It was just an open conversation. There were some questions I didn't quite feel qualified to answer in some areas, but it was good fun. And then on the afternoon on Saturday, Amy and I did a short run, 30-40 minutes with a few strides to prep for the half, and I did a 90-minute spin inside, and I was certainly feeling much better, much more positive that I would be good to go for Sunday. So today I have done the Reading half marathon. I'm going to do a smaller race video on that specifically, but spoiler alert, it went pretty well. Massive PB, definitely by over 3 minutes. So I think I've just dipped under 76 minutes, so 1 hour 16, so a high 1:15 something. I can't find the results officially. I'm not going to go off my Training Peaks time. I'm going to go off the official results time, as you always should for these big races. So yeah, I'm super happy though. I pretty much even, if not technically, I negative splitted it by a few seconds. I held a really consistent effort throughout. The pace fluctuated a little bit because the terrain is not perfectly flat in Reading. But yeah, super happy, and we'll cover it in more detail. So that wraps the week up. We've got 7 weeks to go. Is that right? And yeah, need to book the flight soon. But we're certainly heading in the right direction, and ready to go. Cheers.